It's been a strange few months in our household. I'm Sophia, a daughter-in-law who prides herself on being trusting and caring. But lately, things have been off. It started with small amounts of money vanishing from my purse, and then, one by one, my favorite pieces of jewelry began to disappear. At first, I blamed myself, thinking maybe I was just being forgetful. But the frequency of these incidents, it didn't add up. "John, have you seen my pearl earrings?" I remember asking my husband one evening. He was sprawled on the sofa, engrossed in a book. He glanced up. "No, love. Maybe you left them at your mom's." I shook my head. "I haven't worn them since the dinner party last month." John marked his page and sat up. "Are you sure you didn't misplace them? You've been so busy lately." I wanted to believe that, but a nagging doubt lingered in my mind. It wasn't just the earrings, it was cash, my grandmother's ring, a few necklaces. The list grew longer by the day. It was a sunny Saturday morning when everything changed. I was dusting the living room, humming to myself. The sun streamed in through the open window, casting a warm glow on the family photos lined up on the mantelpiece. I moved to clean the drawers. A routine task, or so I thought. As I opened the bottom drawer of the cabinet, a space rarely used, I froze. There, nestled among some old scarves and handkerchiefs, were my missing treasures. My heart pounded as I picked up each piece. My grandmother's ring, the pearl earrings, a bracelet I received on my birthday, all hidden in Martha's drawer. Martha, my mother-in-law, was a stern woman. We had a cordial relationship, but there was always an undercurrent of tension. She had her way of doing things and didn't take kindly to change. Discovering my belongings in her drawer was shocking, to say the least. "What on earth?" I whispered to myself, my hands trembling. I needed answers, but I knew confronting Martha outright wouldn't do any good. She was the kind of person who would deny everything and turn it into a blame game. So, I decided to investigate further. I carefully placed everything back exactly how I found it, and closed the drawer. My mind raced with questions. Why would Martha take these things? Was it some sort of message she was trying to send me? Later that day, I casually brought up the topic of lost items during lunch. "You know, it's the strangest thing," I said, trying to sound nonchalant. "I keep misplacing my things. Just yesterday, I spent an hour looking for my watch." Martha looked up from her plate. "That's what happens when you're not organized, Sophia. You should be more careful with your belongings." Her tone was sharp, almost accusing. It struck me as odd, but I nodded. "You're right, Martha. I'll have to be more mindful." John chimed in. "Maybe we should get a safe, for our valuables." Martha scoffed. "A safe? In this house? Don't be ridiculous, John. We're a family. There should be trust." The word trust echoed in my head. Trust, I thought bitterly. How can I trust when my things are being hidden in your drawer? After lunch, I retreated to our room, my mind a whirlwind of thoughts. I knew I couldn't let this go. I had to find out the truth, but I had to be smart about it. Confronting Martha without solid proof would be a mistake. I needed a plan, a way to catch her in the act, to understand why she was doing this. As I sat there, staring at the wall, an idea began to form. It was risky, but it might just work. Ever since finding my belongings in Martha's drawer, I've been on high alert, watching her, noting every little thing she does. It's exhausting and unsettling, but I need answers. "Sophia, you seem distant lately. Is everything okay?" John asked one evening as we sat down for dinner. I forced a smile. "Just tired, that's all. Work's been hectic." But it wasn't work. It was the weight of suspicion and the fear of what I might uncover. A few days later, I visited Rachel, a close friend of mine. We sat in her cozy living room, sipping tea. "Rachel, did you ever notice anything off about Martha when you visited?" Rachel paused, her cup halfway to her lips. "Well, she did seem a bit possessive over certain things, like she didn't want anyone touching her stuff." "Why do you ask?" "Just curious," I lied. Her words only added to my suspicion. Next, I talked to Aunt Linda, Martha's sister. "Linda, has Martha always been so particular about things?" Linda chuckled. "Oh, Martha, she's always been a bit of a hoarder, likes to keep things just so. Why, has she been giving you trouble?" I shrugged, just trying to understand her better. The picture was becoming clearer, but I needed solid proof. That's when I decided to install a hidden camera in our bedroom. It felt like a betrayal, spying in my own home, but I had to know for sure. The camera was tiny, barely noticeable. I placed it in a way that it would capture the drawer where I found my things. My heart pounded as I activated it. What if I was wrong? What if this was all just a huge misunderstanding? I didn't have to wait long for an answer. The very next day, while reviewing the footage, my fears were confirmed. There was Martha, sneaking into our room, rummaging through my things, and then placing a necklace in the drawer. My necklace. I felt a mix of relief and horror. Relief that I wasn't imagining things, and horror at the betrayal. But it didn't stop there. Later, at a family gathering, I overheard a conversation between Martha and Uncle George. "I'm just saying, George, Sophia seems a bit careless with her finances, always losing things," Martha said, her voice dripping with feigned concern. Uncle George nodded. "That's unfortunate. John needs someone responsible, especially with the baby on the way." I felt my face flush with anger. Not only was she stealing from me, but she was also tarnishing my reputation. "Is everything okay, Sophia?" Cousin Emma asked, noticing my expression. I forced a smile. "Yeah, just a bit hot in here." That night I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The truth was out, but what should I do with it? Confronting Martha would cause a family scandal, and John. How would he react? Would he believe me? The next morning, I decided to talk to John. I needed him on my side before I could take any further steps. We sat at the kitchen table, a pot of coffee between us. "John, I need to talk to you about something important," I began, my hands trembling. "What's wrong, Sophia?" he asked, concern etched on his face. I took a deep breath. "It's about your mother." As I told him everything, from the missing items to the hidden camera footage, I watched his expressions change from disbelief to shock to anger. "I can't believe this. My own mother?" John ran his hands through his hair, looking lost. "We need to decide what to do, John. I can't let this go on," I said, my voice firm. John nodded. "Let's confront her, Sophia. Together. We need to put an end to this." It was settled. We would confront Martha, but I knew it wouldn't be easy. The family dynamics would change forever, but I couldn't live in a house where I felt unsafe, where I was being stolen from and lied about. It was time to face the truth, no matter how painful it might be. It's been a few weeks since I confirmed my suspicions about Martha. Every day, I felt like I was carrying a heavy secret, one that could change our family forever. But I couldn't let it go on. I had to expose her, but in a way that was tactful and dignified. I couldn't stoop to her level. One morning, over breakfast, I broached the topic with John. "I've been thinking, maybe we should host a family dinner. It's been a while since we all got together." John, still grappling with the truth about his mother, nodded slowly. "Yeah, that could be good. Bring everyone together." I had already started to formulate a plan in my mind. A family gathering would be the perfect setting to reveal Martha's deceit. It had to be public, yet controlled. I couldn't afford to let emotions dictate the course of that evening. In preparation, I sought legal advice. I met with a lawyer, Mr. Henderson, who specialized in family law. "So you have evidence of the thefts?" he asked, his expression grave. I nodded. "Yes, I have video footage and I've documented everything that's gone missing." Mr. Henderson advised me on how to proceed. "You have a strong case for theft and potentially defamation, but think carefully about how you want to handle this. Legal proceedings can be lengthy and stressful, especially against a family member." His words weighed heavily on me. Was I ready to take this to court? The thought of dragging this out in legal battles was daunting, but I couldn't just let Martha get away with it. A few days before the dinner, I prepared my evidence. I made copies of the video footage and documented a list of all the items that had been stolen. I planned to present them in a calm, factual manner. No accusations, just undeniable proof. The night before the dinner, John and I talked in our room. "Are you sure you want to do this, Sophia? It's not going to be easy," he said, concern in his eyes. I sighed. "I know, but it's the right thing to do. Your mother needs to be held accountable for her actions." John took my hand. "I'll be right there with you. We'll get through this together." The day of the dinner, I felt a mix of nervousness and determination. As I set the table and prepared the food, I rehearsed what I would say in my head. I wanted to be clear and composed. As our family members arrived, the house filled with chatter and laughter. It felt almost surreal, knowing what I was about to do. During dinner, I waited for the right moment. Once everyone had finished eating and was settling in with their drinks, I stood up. I have something important to discuss with all of you. It's about Martha. The room went silent, all eyes on me. Martha looked at me, a flicker of worry crossing her face. I've been experiencing some thefts over the past few months. I began, my voice steady. Money, jewelry, things that are very dear to me. I could see the confusion and concern on everyone's faces. And after some investigation, I discovered the truth. It's been Martha who's been taking my things. Murmurs erupted around the table. Martha's face turned pale. I have proof, I continued, and turned on the TV to show the footage. There was Martha, clear as day, taking my belongings and hiding them in her drawer. The reaction was immediate. Shock, anger, disbelief. Martha sat frozen, her eyes wide with fear. Martha, why? John's voice was filled with pain and betrayal. Martha's voice was barely a whisper. I didn't mean for it to go this far. The room was thick with tension. I looked around at my family, their faces a mix of emotions. I wanted to bring this to light, not to cause drama, but to seek justice. I have no intention of reconciliation. The trust has been broken beyond repair, I said, my voice firm but calm. The evening ended with a heavy air. Some family members tried to console Martha, while others expressed their support for me. But one thing was clear. Things would never be the same again. The air in our living room was thick with tension. After revealing the footage, I watched as the faces of our family members morphed from disbelief to shock. Martha sat there, her face ashen, her eyes darting around the room. This can't be true, she finally stammered. Sophia, you must be mistaken. Why would I do such a thing? The room was silent, everyone waiting for what would come next. I held my ground, my voice steady. Martha, we all saw the footage. You were taking my things and hiding them. There's no mistake. But I had my reasons. Martha's voice quivered. Reasons? What possible reasons could justify stealing from your own family? John interjected, his voice laced with anger and disbelief. Martha looked down, her hands trembling. I was feeling neglected. Ever since John married Sophia, I felt pushed aside. I just wanted to get some attention. Her confession hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. I felt a pang of sadness, but it was quickly overshadowed by the betrayal. Attention? By stealing and lying? You've hurt everyone in this room, Martha, I said. I know. I'm so sorry. Sophia, please, can you forgive me? Martha's eyes were now filled with tears. I took a deep breath. Martha, what you did was not just a betrayal to me, but to our entire family. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. I can't accept your apology. A murmur of agreement rose from the family. John put his hand on my shoulder, giving me a reassuring squeeze. Martha sobbed, her body shaking. I never meant for it to go this far. Intentions don't change the consequences, Martha. You need to face them, John said, his voice firm. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. Some family members tried to console Martha, while others came up to me, expressing their support and shock. The atmosphere was a mix of sympathy, anger, and disbelief. As the guests left, the house felt emptier, colder. John and I sat in silence, absorbing the events of the night. I can't believe my own mother, John whispered. I reached out, taking his hand. We'll get through this, together. In the following days, Martha faced the consequences of her actions. We decided to handle the matter privately, avoiding legal actions for the sake of family peace. However, Martha agreed to return all the stolen items and to seek therapy for her issues. The dynamics within our family changed. Some relatives kept their distance from Martha, while others tried to bridge the gap she had created. But for me, the damage was done. I couldn't see her the same way again. John and I focused on rebuilding our life, putting the incident behind us. It wasn't easy, but we knew it was necessary. We became more cautious, more guarded. As I put away the last piece of jewelry Martha returned, I couldn't help but feel a sense of closure. I had stood up for myself, exposed the truth, and set boundaries. The road ahead would be challenging, but I felt stronger, more resilient. That night, as John and I sat on our porch, looking up at the stars, he whispered, "Sophia, thank you for being so brave." I leaned against him. "We're in this together, remember?" We knew our family would never be the same, but we also knew that we had each other. And sometimes, that's all you need to face the uncertainties of life.